This is Why People Don't Do Their Jobs, Episode 38, Doubtsourcing. This is a giant factory. Usually these places are greater than 500 employees and it's a world-class company. And that means it's got a world-class workforce, but not all the jobs in this place require a world-class workforce. So these guys are coming in the back. They're the doubt-sourced workforce. The doubt-sourced workforce is lower paid, has worse benefits, not really all that well trained, but they're able to specialize to some extent. They get the non-value added tasks out of the hair of the world-class workforce. So how is this working? I went into a place the other day that makes these hydraulic pumps. The doubt-source activity was a calibration of torque wrenches, and the finding was they lost track of the wrenches. Another doubt-source activity was solvent handling, and the finding was that solvent was stored in a building that wasn't rated for solvent. Here's another example, a famous producer of construction equipment. The doubt-sourced activity was keeping track of the gauges, and the finding was they didn't tell anyone that one of the gauges was bad. Another doubt-source activity was running the paint booth, but they weren't adjusting the paint booth temperatures properly, and they weren't handling the waste solvent properly. Here's another example, a different manufacturer of construction equipment. The doubt-source activity was materials handling, and the finding was that incoming materials weren't being inspected and there was loss of traceability. So the conclusion of all this was that the doubt-source activities weren't being properly done and the doubt-sourcers weren't doing their jobs. So this is an important question. Does this really matter? Well, in episode 1 we talked about low expectations. This situation could go on for a long time and nothing bad would happen. Some other processing step later on would supposedly catch any defects. Episode 9, we learned about McCaig's Law. Nothing happens in isolation. If a company has low expectations of its doubt-sourcing workers, that same attitude will eventually spread to the world-class workforce. Remember this situation where the solvent was stored in the wrong building? This situation is extremely serious. In the event of a disaster, the company would end up on CNN. And not in a good way. The doubt-sourcing activity is reducing cost, but the company is accepting risk. Most of the time this is harmless and/or annoying, but this has a chance to be extremely serious. Not to mention the fact that once entrenched, these companies are practically impossible to fire. People don't do their jobs and nothing bad happens. Here's my YouTube channel. Here's my disclaimer.